if the Leafs changed up the mix and brought in a DJ, how would you feel about that? Because there is word from the Athletics' Arthur Staple that Zibanejad.
I thought you meant DJ Smith.
No,
oh my God.
that Zibanejad and the Leafs could be a marriage.
So,
and I like, now people are like, there's a little bit of thing with Zibanejad because he's a great player, but then there's always like people like, well, he's a little too nonchalant, and it's like, is he nonchalant or is he Swedish?
I mean, he seems identical to Willie,
which makes him perfect
in
for a
a
market
lot of
like
ways.
this. Yeah.
Yes.
And does perform in the playoffs.
Does perform in the playoffs. I need to do a deep dive on like how he is early series, late series, but over the course of the Rangers doing well in recent memory, he's their leading scorer.
Yeah.
Now, I think last show you were like, isn't that just Marner? So I got to do a bit of a deeper dive there. Because again, you look at Marner's points, you're like, oh, why are they getting rid of this guy? And then you watch the individual games and individual series, you're like, oh, that's why.
Yeah. Yep.
Like anyone who just looks at, oh, broad strokes, okay, well, you're lazy and not worth our time.
Right. And I'm curious about that more than anything, because if you get Tavares at 5 and you get Zibanejad, and I know his contract's long, and people are worried about that, and you shouldn't be, because you can always trade contracts later. Zibanejad, I think, has 5 years left at 8.5.
Holy Santa Claus shit. No way.
He's year 4 of 8. Okay. $8.5 million.
Heading into year 4.
Yeah. Yeah, because Puckpedia has moved over to the next season.
I believe so, yeah.
So, yeah.
So, wow, 4 years left at 8.5.
It ends 2030.
Right. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay. Yeah, it's not great, but like, are we worried about 2030 Chris Tanev? Because he signed to 2030.
Right. Okay.
Not worried about it.
With Tavares. Let's do Tavares first.
No, I'm bringing this back to Tavares.
Oh, okay.
So there's a reason here.
Got it.
You get Tavares at 5.5. You get Zibanejad is what, 8.5?
8.5.
So 5.5 plus 8.5 equals what? 13. 14 million. That's what Mitch is going to make.
Zibanejad, Tavares had nearly 40 goals. Zibanejad had 20 last year.
Yeah, but the Rangers are so guys. Let's be honest.
Yes, that is valid. He's also only 2 years younger than Tavares. So, like, they're very similar in age.
They have a window, right? My point is this.
Zibanejad's also got the little anchor next to his name. It's full no move. It can't be moved, sent down, or waived.
What they're saying is,
he's also missed 2 games post-COVID bubble.
Okay.
He played the full 56, 81, 82, 81, 82. It's just all things to note.
So here's what Arthur Staples said. There's a chance that Drury has already worked out with Zibanejad, who has 5 years at 8.5 million average annual value, that they're going to, that moving on would be best. They still need to find a fit. The Leafs might have some interest and some space to fill, but trading Kreider's BFF soon after dealing Kreider would produce the impact cap flexibility and team culture that Drury so badly wants. Zibanejad holds the cards, though, and he gave no indication he was interested in leaving at the end of the season. Now, the Kreider deal did happen to a team that he didn't want to go to. It was on his no-trade team, and they worked it out without fireworks, right? And I tend to think that Arthur Staples suggesting that means that he's heard something to that effect that he can't report. That's what I'm deducing from that.
Interesting.
That conversation has probably taken place, and it's just impossible to confirm that it's taken place. And so, if a Zibanejad, and we're playing with like the Puckpedia line management thing here. If you have Matthews, Zibanejad, Tavares down the center,
wow,
I think you got I think you feel pretty good about your set. Because here's the problem with the Leafs always. It wasn't just the mix of guys. It was the positions they played. That's why they tried Nylander at center.
Well,
again and again and again in training camp.
I know this is like incredibly difficult to replicate, but I'm just looking at the Panthers right now and their insane depth. And I'm like, why did I ever think they had a shot? Their third line is Lundell, Lusterinen, Marchand.
But those guys established themselves like this during this run. And it's not that they weren't great in previous runs and that sort of thing, but you establish yourself as that great during the playoffs. Right?
So I'm looking at them and I'm going, on how many teams would that be their second line? On how many teams would that be their first? And that's their third. It is their third option behind Bennett, Kachuk, Verhaeghe, and the top line that's not even playing all that well is Reinhart, Barkov, Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So, the reason I say all that is up the middle, bing, bang, boom. Awesome. Holy Santa Claus shit. You look at the top line, Nyes, Nylander, oh my God. Beyond that, like there's just nothing there. Zibanejad is a big swing. Like I'm saying all that to say Zibanejad is a huge swing.
Does he not feel like what a Pierre-Luc Dubois swing felt like last summer? A little older.
I understand
and more
what
success
you mean.
to his name than Pierre-Luc Dubois ever had.
I understand what you mean, but here's what the Capitals have to surround. Here's why the Capitals can afford to take on an $8 million project is all of their young talent on their first or second contract.
Mm-hmm.
The Leafs just don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
Nyes, end of list. They just don't have it.
And you're going to try for Cowan, and Danford's going to be a few years away.
Yeah, like you have, at best case, unless you make some sort of moves, you have Nyes, who's going to make a lot of money, probably, and Cowan. Mm-hmm. Like, they got Protas, and next year they're going to have two Protas.
Out of their Protai.
Protai. And they're going to have McMichael. And they got, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
They just,
yeah.
The Leafs just don't have that.
Well,
so that's why I'm worried about spending big money, even if it's less, on yet another guy.
So what goes, let's say Mika Zibanejad agrees to a trade to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Mm-hmm. He's cool with it. The Leafs want him. What goes the other way?
I think cap space is going the Rangers' way.
Yeah, but what do the Leafs give them?
They have to, I think the Leafs have to dump money. There's no reality where the Rangers retain.
So do you do a Yarncroke or a Kampf or something like that to even out some money a little bit?
One or both of them, and basically every pick you have left for this draft. Like, you don't have any firsts.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the Rangers,
I don't know why a first would need to go to the Rangers though. They want the cap flexibility. They want to be able to. Listen, the Rangers aren't just worried about this summer. They're not worried. Yeah,
which is nuts.
Okay,
that is nuts.
Yeah, but it was like I'm trading my. I got a chocolate bar coming one way in the lunchroom. I guess I'll give you some goldfish crackers. Like,
but I also don't think the Rangers are giving up Zibanejad for free. Like, I think they gotta get something back.
I think they'll get players. I think they'll get roster players. But really, what they're after is they're after flexibility. They're after money to spend. That's what they want. You can give them that. You have money to spend. So why? I mean, I'm not worried about. Is it a fifth round? Is it a pick swap for fifth round picks? I don't know.
But he's worth so much more than that.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a Kreider situation.
But I don't think that's how the Rangers view it. I think the Rangers want flexibility. I think they want to do some other things.
No, but I'm saying like somebody's willing to pay something for him.
Right. Okay.
So if the Leafs are like, we'll take him for money, and they're like, okay, but we got San Jose or Seattle who's going to give us a player plus a first round pick for him, and they're willing to do that. I think one of these 31 other teams will do that.
Sure, but Mika then can step in and go, well, here's where I want to go.
Right. So let's say it's Seattle and Toronto, and Seattle's willing to pay something, and Toronto's not.
Yep.
So I feel like there's a deal out there. So Toronto's gonna have to pay something. So, and I don't know what that is.
I wouldn't know either. No idea.
Here's what the Leafs got in terms of pick capital this year, just so that we're not like theorizing. No first. They have a second. They have a third. They don't have a fourth. They have 2 fifths, a sixth, and a seventh. 2026 is even worse. They don't have a first. They don't have a second. They have a third. They don't have a fourth. They have a fifth, a sixth, and no seventh.
Mm-hmm.
They have the reason Leaf trades are kind of frustrating to discuss is what chips do they have? They don't have a ton, right? They don't have a ton in the way of picks. They don't have a ton in the way of prospects. If you trade off your roster, I mean, there's guys you would love to dump, but what are teams going to give you something good for the guys you're trying to dump? You know what I mean? Oh yeah, here's a second for David Kampf. Like, it's just
you're not going to get that, yeah,
right? Or Yarncroke or whatever.
I do think when the music stops, there's going to be some interest in a guy like Kampf because there are a lot of teams looking for centers, and he is a depth center, and he only makes $2.5 million.
I don't think that's wrong. So because Minton's gone and
by the way,
gone,
the Minton thing, people got to relax on that.
Yeah, but he was a chip. Right?
Yeah, I suppose.
It's not about him making the Hall of Fame.
We don't know what he's going to be.
Me neither. He's a chip though. You have Cowan left. It makes no sense to trade him.
No, I think you want him in the lineup.
You have Danford. It makes no sense to trade him. We had like a list of 3 when we were talking about with Leaf prospects. Like, so who's in that group now of prospects that teams would look at? Like Hildeby? Are you now looking in net?
I would do that.
I don't.
Akimov,
who had such a good start to the season and really fell off kind of. Boy, it's bare.
Mm-hmm.
It's bare.
which is why I think they're going to be doing some signing and some trading, but some cap dump trading. Now, CJ has also mentioned the possibility of the Leafs being very interested in Brad Marchand. And we talk about responsible money spent, right? So is Zibanejad responsible money spent? I think he's a risk, and I think you try because up until last season, the guy's a stud.
Yeah.
Right?
And for reference, this is what the Leafs lineup looks like with Zibanejad in it and no Calle Yarncroke. So it's Nyes, Matthews, Marner, McMahon, Tavares.
Nylander.
Whoa, muscle memory.
What did I
Jesse.
say?
You said Marner.
Oh my God.
Muscle memory,
no,
Jesse.
literally.
Whoa.
My brain is just Nyes, Matthews, Marner for the rest of my life. And I'm going to have to get used to something else. Oh my God. Yeah. That was funny. Nyes, Matthews, Nylander, McMahon, Tavares, no 2 right wing, Lawton, Zibanejad, Domi, Robertson signed, let's say he gets a new contract, Kampf and Reeves.
See, I think you have Zibanejad on second 2C. You got Nylander with him. And I think you put it in this lineup scenario.
Oh, you move Domi up?
You move Domi up because Domi, I think, and Matthews had something together. Now, if you get Marchand,
that looks a bit better.
Then I think you have. Do you
have the room?
This is $5.6 million left.
Yeah, I just.
And this is a lineup with Reeves and Robertson. There's 5.6 left. We already moved off of Yarncroke,
which isn't enough.
Marchand doesn't want $5 million.
They got the money.
They don't have the money for this.
Vegas, you guys asked the same question with Vegas. How?
So who's moving off the lineup to bring in Marchand at $8 million?
I don't.
Zibanejad, the one who's not even a Leaf.
But they can't spend. You can't spend $8 million on wing. You can't until you've done it. You got to get.
So
we're learning nothing.
So Marchand's not coming.
No,
I think he is.
With this, well, not with Zibad.
I think he's coming. I think they're both coming.
The Leafs do need a DNA change, and yes, he would help that. They do not have the money for this. They don't.
I think you guys are. I think you are a victim of a Kyle Dubas era team. I get it, but you're not being nearly creative enough. You're not.
I am asking you, Adam, with the lineup in front of you and our ability to move around any of this money.
So how much is Matthew Nyes making in this scenario, by the way?
$7 million.
Okay, I think that's a fair deal.
That's valid.
Yeah.
Valid.
Okay, and Tavares you have at what?
5.5.
Okay, and I think that's valid and fair. Can you?
I don't like a 6-year.
Why do you have David Kampf there?
5.5.
Because I traded Yarncroke for Zibanejad. So
Jesse Blake,
because that's the suggestion I got from the panel.
Actually, I think Kampf would be going. But
no, it bloody
center.
Oh my God!
But I think you have a team without Kampf, without Reeves. Reeves, you're burying.
Yes.
Okay.
Lawton is your fourth.
All right, so we're creating more holes in the line.
Cowan is your third line right wing.
Oh yeah.
All right.
There you go.
Let's go get Cowan.
It feels too early in June for this.
No. Okay, no. We have held off for months. We've been really good. In previous years, we've been all over this crap all year long.
We've been
holding out.
We're gonna do the Game 5 Marchand Fest. Don't you worry.
This is why I'm going to Marchand so we can go to the game.
Right.
Marchand.
Oh, you're so good.
This is the point.
You're so good.
See, I said the mix and then Zibad. You see?
Hey,
right, so you want Easton Cowan there?
Yeah, throw Easton Cowan in there.
On the right wing?
Revo, I think you're going to find someone else other than that. You need to find
Holmberg.
I'm going to send down
Holmberg.
And then
what serious?
Or not Holmberg. Maybe you find the next Simo Benoit, but up front. Can you not find? Are we allergic to finding players that maybe are undervalued in other situations? Like Brad has done that.
Yeah. You know what's going to be great?
Benoit is probably one of the best signings Brad Treliving's ever had.
It's going to be great when the Leafs sign Daniel Sprong. And
oh no, they're not going to do that.
They trade him by one of the Thanksgivings.
Nobody's
either Canadian or American.
Steve, day one.
Yeah.
Leafs at home. Montreal Canadiens. Nyes, Matthews, Domi, McMahon, Zibanejad, Nylander, Lawton, Tavares, Cowan, Robertson, blank.
Mm-hmm.
Are you happy?
I think Robertson's gone too, by the way.
No.
No, you need more.
I know Marner's gone. God, that team looks. So, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You were spending too much on too few.
Mm-hmm.
You're still doing that here. I would love it if on July 1st, it's like we signed these 3 or 4 notable players for like $4 million each, which is not something I thought I would say a few years ago, but like the goalposts have moved a little. This team has not had enough depth. And because we like these guys and because they've won, we've tricked ourselves into thinking they had it. And you look like a deep team until a deep team shows up. And that's what happened in the second round.
Yeah.
We went, holy shit. And the Leafs did beat the Sens, of course. They should have. They very extraordinarily should have.
And in the end, it wasn't really close.
No, speed wobble a little in the middle, but yeah, like they won. They should have. Great. Oh man, the Panthers, they were so close. Can we stop? Can we do this they lose in 7 every year, right? So they're close every year.
But your original point in that spreading out that money that you lose from Marner and you have all of this extra cap space, the idea is to get depth with that, is not to spend it on a couple of guys because then you're running it back in the same sort of manner. Like I 100% agree. Like that's the direction they need to go. A bunch of $3 million guys.
Like I'll give you an
million.
idea of the type of lineup I'm looking at. I saw like a Puckpedia armchair GM projection. I apologize because I can't remember who it was, but they had McMahon as a healthy scratch on opening day, which he actually was this past year, but he was injured just on a curve. He just scored 20 goals for Craig Berube. Like, I don't think he's going to be a healthy scratch, but
they had so many guys that McMahon didn't make the lineup.
He also had a bad camp. He had a bad camp.
Yes. I just look at that lineup and I'm like, it has the same problems.
Yeah. Also, we got to add Max Pacioretty to this lineup.
Yeah, he will.
Why not?
I think he's gonna be elite.
Yeah.
Why not? He'll be on the left, Robertson on the right.
Why not JJ Paterka?
Give me Jimmy John Paterka.
Buffalo is now listening to offers because I don't know. It's so funny. Buffalo seemed to not understand that like he didn't want to be there, and it was pretty obvious that he didn't want to be there. And they're like, "We're not going to trade him." And you were the one saying they can't.
Alan,
they're going
I'm
to.
Sorry. I would rather them sit your client than trade him. Oh, well, I'm not reporting. Great, don't. We're the Sabres. What are we going to do? Suck? Oh. You're not going to feel bad when Gavin McKenna's on your wing. Shut up. No, like, you're a restricted free agent.
I think they could get a lot for him.
Of course they could. They might even get JJ Paterka. At some point, you have to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor, which for the Sabres was being ass and then being smart enough to draft JJ Paterka. Oh, I don't like it here. No one likes it here. You're not special.
He's going to
Put
Florida.
on the uniform.
He's going to Florida to win a cup.
I'll kill you.
He's going to Florida to win a cup like every other former Sabre.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Montour, Reinhart, who else?
I'll cancel AP.
You'll just
all in favor of banning AP. If Paterka signs in Florida, say aye.